Okay. Hello, Zach. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Good. Thank you for being here today with us. ScareViews with me actually. Um, but we are huge fans of your movie, The House is October Built. You got the first one and the sequel. And we
Yeah.
want to ask you some questions. Um, and one of them first was, just tell us a bit about yourself, what you are doing now, and what the experience was like in the film.
Yeah, my writing partner and I, Bobby Rowe, who's also the director of the movie and in it as well, we always were, trying to come up with concepts for movies, 20 years ago. And, we'd
Mhm.
get close on some scripts and it would just be heartbreaking when the funding didn't go through or, you had a location and just something fell apart that was kind of out of your control. And so, we just thought, what is an idea where we can take advantage of some sets that are already built? And, we kind of worked backwards and then we thought of the story from there. Once we were like, okay, we've always loved haunted houses. We
Yeah.
went to high school together. We grew up in
Mhm.
Texas. We would, go to a haunted house and then go to a horror movie afterwards,
Yeah.
growing up. So it was really, something that we loved. And so then, we reached out to some attractions and said, would
Mhm.
we be able to shoot here? And everybody in the community was so welcoming. We really didn't run into any problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they're not used to having people shooting a movie on, in the middle of running their business, but they just
Right.
couldn't have been more accommodating and, about with holding up lines and kind of letting us do our thing and letting us hang
Mhm.
around and, get B-roll shots. We were at, we sh and for the sequel, we were up in Minnesota and it was just a brutally cold night in October. And, the scare actors did not necessarily sign up, for us doing take after take, for to get certain things, but they just hung in there. I mean, they when they woke up that morning, they probably thought, by midnight we'll be in a warm bed, but 3 in the morning
Right.
still helping us out. So, yeah, it was
Mhm.
really a cool experience and as a way into the film industry and just getting a movie finished and out there, and then it, doing well enough that the studio said, "Hey, go do that again." So that was really fun and has opened the door to be able to do other films like Isolation, and we've got a short that we've been traveling around even
Nice.
internationally. Just
Mhm.
got back from the Red Movie Awards in France.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been just a wild experience, kind of being able to travel the world through film festivals.
That's amazing. I'm surprised some of them were very open to it, considering during, haunt hours, they have all these people going through at one time, always rushing in that, but we are always doing haunts, whatever we can find. We go around the world, basically, all different states. We're trying to California eventually, but it's so far right now, but we go out there, we rate and review the haunts and that, and we notice some of them you've been at, we have been at, and it was just incredible seeing that, going to a haunt and knowing there was a movie filmed there is just amazing. And it was just, it felt so different seeing the movie and then being there, because then you actually feel like something really bad is going to happen, because usually we're thinking like, oh, this person's going to jump out there or there, but once we watch the movie we're like, you never know what's going to really go on inside a haunted house.
Well, we're glad we could, partner up with haunted houses to give you that experience because I think that suspending that disbelief for a little bit is fun. To know that, yeah, you don't know what's around the corner. So, we've actually partnered up with a few haunts that we haven't even shot in. If you go to hauntsociety.com, you'll have
Okay.
a list of people that are kind of a lot of the people, obviously that are on there, we did end up using for the movie, but there's haunted attractions that we haven't been to, but I've talked to the owners and we researched them and we've seen the YouTube videos and we're like, okay, this is a legit place. If you're a fan of houses October built, go to Haunt Society. That's our brand to say, hey, these are some good attractions, no matter what state you're in.
Definitely, we will make sure to share that out. It's great that you're recommending haunted houses in there and just inspiring people from the film to get out there more and do what they are most interested in.
Yeah,
Um,
we've expanded too to horror escape rooms. I don't know if you've done
wow,
any of those, but that can be fun. We actually shot in House October Built 2, we shot in an escape room. And that kind of, a few years ago, we went, wait a second, we're helping out promote a lot of haunted houses across the country. What about escape rooms? When it's a horror themed, it's kind of like a haunted house. So I enjoy doing
exactly.
those as well.
What haunted escape room did you do? I believe I saw it was a zombie outbreak one, or was that the you
Yeah,
also had a
paranoia.
you had a
Paranoia
zombie
Quest.
run?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paranoia Quest is in Georgia. But
Mhm.
that was in the movie, but we've gone through several now. It's obviously a little more interactive than just walking through a haunted house, but I really just enjoy when people are pushing the boundaries, whether it's a theatrical haunted house or it's interactive or
Mhm.
just showing me something that I haven't seen before and just taking a chance, on a lot of people are using plants these days. So
Yeah.
you'll be kind of hanging around, before you actually do the haunted house and somebody will kind of interact with you and try to be kind of casual. And then you
Mhm.
go through with them, and then all of a sudden they get yanked out of the haunt, and then something like bad happens to them, and it's like, wait,
Mhm.
that person was with us, and it just again, it's just suspends that disbelief and makes you think that you might be unsafe, and that
Mhm.
elevates the
Yeah,
experience.
we love the physical ones. Our last one was Blood Prison in Ohio. Have you been there?
No,
It was so intense. So it's an actual prison. They filmed Shawshank Redemption at.
oh, that's cool.
Um, and you go in, and the main person comes out with like the Undertaker casket music and everything. And you walk in, and they're like grabbing your neck. They're swinging a paddle at your back. At sometimes, I got I almost had my first breaking point in there. There was a nurse in there, like a dead zombie nurse, and she stuck an actual IV into my back, and I thought it was fake. And when I felt it, I started running. I don't usually run. I'm like, yeah, this is my breaking point.
I
Like,
can't say I've heard that before. You'll have to message me the name of that haunt. I'll do some research on it. There's another
yeah.
one. If you make it to California, you'll have to do the 17th door.
Oh, I've heard that. I've heard that's very intense.
That's one of the most uh they didn't stab me with anything, but they still some
They were
serious stuff.
physical enough.
Yeah, if you like physical and pushing the limit, they're the nicest people. I've gotten to know Heather, who owns it and runs it pretty well, and is off when you're not doing the experience. You think, oh, this is just the loveliest person, and and then you go through it, and you're like, you did that stuff to me.
Yeah. We Blood Prison is the nicest haunt owners I have probably met in a long time. They are super communicative. They're very well organized there. But when you tell them you're a haunt review team and you get there and they notice your face, you don't know what to expect. You're like, maybe can you be a little nice to me, but also go a little hard? And it's not that way. They're going to go as hard as they can. They
Oh,
don't care who you are. They'll
I
go
think they
for it.
bring it more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I worry. I think about that too. It's like we've gone to places and you'll somebody will be like, "Oh, those are the guys from Houses October Built," and you just kind of go, "Uh-oh," because they're like, "We
Like,
want to make an impression on you, so we're not going to hold back."
is so when you go to haunted houses, one thing I tend to do is I set up my team. I contact the haunt ahead of time, and I kinda set up a plan at times to, like, get back at them for some pranks they have done before. So,
I like
I
it.
was it's like not one was not a touch haunt, and I'm like, "Can you grab his shoe and throw it out or something?" They literally grabbed both shoes and, like, locked them inside of somewhere or something. But do you have, like, that experience where you're in the haunt and you just wanna get back at your friends for just whatever?
I haven't. I think we did so much of that with Brandy, not knowing, in the movie, we wouldn't tell her anything. So a lot of times, Bobby and I would go through the haunt, and we would know the place that was really going to be bad. And then poor Brandy would be like, "What are you guys setting me up for here?" So I think we basically did that every time to her. And it's funny, people online have, commented and said like, "I can't believe Brandy's still friends with those guys." And it's like, Brandy's one of our best friends. Like, this was a movie, but people are like, the fact that Bobby and Zach did this to
Yeah.
Brandy, they haven't forgiven us.
What was it like being isolated in a coffin?
I was the first one to do it because we were testing it out, and it like we couldn't put Brandy in there. I didn't feel comfortable until I had actually done it. So during our, kind of test footage and everything, I did it, and that lid goes down, and then you start hearing that dirt, and the dirt kind of goes through the wooden coffin, so it's like kind of, trickling down on your
Wow.
face. And I remember I had a walkie, obviously we had safety coordinators and everything, but
Mhm.
they walkied, acting like I couldn't hear it and said, "Okay, we're breaking for lunch." It's like, ha ha ha. But yeah, I mean, it was fast enough, and I don't get claustrophobic, so I would
Mhm.
say I was probably buried for less than 5 minutes, and never had any kind of breathing issue or anything. So it was almost, for me, a lot of this is more surreal than it is scary. It was just weird
Mhm.
thinking like, I am in a coffin getting dirt put on top of me. That just,
Yeah,
not many people can say that.
right, yeah. I mean, we've had a couple, but we haven't had it to that degree where we even felt dirt on our face, like, that part would just freak me out then. I don't think I would be able to handle much longer in it. But how did Brandy react then? I mean, she's known as Coffin Girl, but what was her, like, first thoughts when she saw the coffin?
She always kind of gives a look like, really? Like, you're really going to make me do this? And then she always comes through. So she is such a trooper. I mean, there's not many people I think that could put up with four guys like that, plus, a crew, and going all around the country basically every day, waking up and going, "Okay, what are these guys going to make me do next that I don't even know about?" And she always, like I said, she'd give a look of like, really, but then, would always deliver. And she's such a good actress. It's like hard to,
Yeah.
the blending of like her real scare versus her, doing what she needed to do as her character would do it.
Mhm.
Really just pulled it off, and then off camera, just being, like I said, being able to put up with our shenanigans, for weeks on end, because we really were in an RV going across the
Mhm.
country. I mean, we didn't. It's
Wow.
not like we flew to, Albuquerque, New Mexico, rented an
Mhm.
RV, used it as a set, and then flew to St. Louis and rented an RV. It was the same RV. I mean, we were
Wow.
driving, all over, from Minnesota to Atlanta to Dallas to LA, and um,
Mhm.
it's quite a life experience. I mean, I think just the road trip aspect of it is something I'll treasure, as much as being able to make a movie, as much as being able to make a movie that did well. And here we are
Mhm.
having a podcast about this movie that, the original movie that was released actually on Shudder this last fall. I mean, we shot that in 2010, part of it. I mean,
Wow.
we're 15 years um, since we originally came up with that and got in an RV as five friends searching for the blue skeleton.
Yeah. Um, so how long did it take for you to get everything, like, production-wise? Like, what was the way you got the scare actors to get involved, including the RV scene where you turn the headlights on and there's, like, 20, 30 scare actors in front of you? What
Yeah, I
was
mean,
it? Go ahead.
yeah, perfect. Another perfect example. I used the Minnesota one in the cold earlier, but that was another thing that we wanted to be able to do after the haunt. And we just asked, hey, if anyone wants to help us out, and you can see who showed up. I mean,
Yeah.
this, a number of scare actors said, you know what, I'll stay in costume. I'll stay in my makeup and everything and do an extra couple hours of work and that's kind of that scene of if you think back to Houses October Build, if you haven't seen it in a while, and he said, well, what are the three or four scenes that you remember? It's going to be porcelain getting on the bus,
Yeah.
and being surrounded. I think both those two scenes, and then we've already talked about the coffin. I mean, those might be the three that people remember. So, and you don't know at the time what scenes are going to be, the most iconic for your film.
Right.
I'll tell you a funny story about that scene is, we were always taking turns with, you had to justify who had the camera. And I remember
Mhm.
being exhausted that night, and I said my character I think would have the camera, and so I went and laid down in the back of the RV while some of that was being shot. And it's like, well, but I couldn't be in it because I was the camera. So somebody always
Mhm.
had to do that. So that was one of my uh, off camera moments.
That's amazing. I can't imagine how exhausted you were just traveling all the time and then having to do camera work and going through the houses. It's a lot. It really is. And it's just amazing that you put all of this through and you got this far right now. There's more to come, I assume. Are you planning on maybe a third one sometime?
We've got a few projects in the works in this space for sure, and that's part of why we have Haunt Society, is kind of gathering the people that we want to work with, and for multiple things. I think there's going to be a Houses October Built 3. I think there's some timing around some other TV projects that we're
Mhm.
in the middle of, and trying to figure out the best way to tell different stories in this world. I mean, now we feel so immersed in it and comfortable in it, and there's different avenues to. I think really, thinking about it more is, I just love the family environments and the kind of the behind the scenes part that I didn't know anything about until doing these movies. I mean, we've all been to haunted houses, and you've experienced scares, and we can tell stories about, different haunted houses in different places. But when you make the movies, you spend a lot of time talking with the owners, and you end up meeting the scare actors, and you hear their stories, and that's really inspired us to kind of dig deeper into this world and want to show some of that as well. So we've
Mhm.
been thankful to meet this community and be embraced by it, and hopefully we're doing right by it as well. And I love hearing stories of you saying we love going to attractions that were in the movie, and hopefully we're continuing to give shine light on haunted houses, and make the business grow, and you know help any way we can, because we really enjoy the community and enjoy the family like environment that they create there. It didn't. I don't know why I didn't really consider that before he made the movies, but it really is. It's not someone just running a business. It's everybody there is so passionate about this that it's a really cool place to work and live in that world.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I used to be someone that would not do haunted houses at all. I would refuse to go inside them. I'd refuse to look at anyone really. And my dad just got me in there. I'm like, I actually had a great time, with my family in that, and I just get such a laugh of when they jump in that. I'm like, I kind of saw that coming, but I didn't want to tell you in that. But also seeing the actors and actresses just staying in their position, enjoying the job that they love is what really matters most because a lot of times people are now working just for financial stuff and that, but I like to see it where they're actually wanting to do it nonstop for the entertainment, the fun, and just getting to know the community better.
Agree.
Yeah, so for the blue skeleton, can you tell me more about the blue skeleton in your own opinion?
I mean, those guys are crazy. They've literally tortured me for two movies.
Yeah.
They are they're always watching. They're probably going to watch this podcast as well. So
Wow.
who knows if they're going to start following you around?
They might. I don't know. I don't have anywhere to go if I do, I guess.
Be on the lookout. You know what they look like.
I
You know the
will.
mask.
I know the mask. We've been looking around everywhere we go. We're like, is that the one from House's October Build or not? We're like, we're not sure. There was just so many in there, but the main one we're focused on is the porcelain doll. I'm like, if I see her on anything, I'm like, I don't know about going there then. um, and I believe they had her at Mad World one year, in South Carolina. We didn't get to see her inside the haunt, but just seeing that costume and knowing everything she did and acted in your movie, it's just like you get these chills and you're like, oh, I'm really regretting going in this now.
I'm glad that has stayed with you. I hope you never lose that.
Yeah, we will never lose it. We watch your movie all the time. We've watched it over 50 times, honestly. We just watched it last week again, 1 and 2, and it's just amazing. We actually watched it on, Tubi, and, what I was gonna ask is, what was it like trying to get your movie on streaming platforms? How difficult was it?
Thankfully, we had distribution with Image and RLJ, which is AMC, and so they handle
Mhm,
all of that stuff. So I haven't had to, kind of do those different negotiations, and they just we don't even know always where it is. We'll tell somebody, oh, it's on Netflix, and then 2 months later somebody will be like, it wasn't on Netflix, but it was on Amazon, and then it's on Hulu. And so it has made the rounds and kind of been everywhere.
mhm.
uh, but yeah, we didn't have to do any of that stuff. So once a studio takes over, they handle it. So
That's good, I'm glad you didn't have to handle some of that. It can get very stressful
yeah,
at
for sure.
times. How long did production last? How long did it take to make the original one and then the sequel? Like, was it just off season or was it only during haunt season? Was there a certain budget in place for the project you were doing at the time?
Yeah, I mean they've actually had, all three, the original and then Houses 1 and Houses 2 were all completely different experiences from a budget standpoint, from a having more of a crew or not,
Mhm.
time wise, they all kind of took in between 2 to 3 weeks. There's travel days, but we're using the travel days to get a lot of the RV shots. So
Mhm.
um, it was usually, 6 day shoot, take a day off, 6 days, take a day off, and then, 3 or 4 to 5 days, kind of wrapping up. And we didn't do many reshoots. We mostly got all of it,
Wow.
because a lot of it obviously was seasonal dependent, but
Mhm.
some stuff that we could, kind of steal somewhere else we did, but most of it was all done, yeah, on the primary time we shot.
That's amazing. I thought it would take years to do all that with how much was involved in that movie. But the fact that you didn't have to reshoot many scenes is just incredible. I mean, just trying to get the perfect camera angle, the perfect acting in there, and making sure you get everything in frame is really difficult to do. And the way you manage to do it in just weeks is incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you? What made you first start? You know, directing stuff and acting. Did you start going to school for it, or was it just something you were like, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this because I like this topic."
Yeah, Bobby and I have always written together, and I took screenwriting classes at Baylor. He went to UCLA, played baseball, and then went to film school at LMU. And so we just kept, kind of honing our craft writing. And then my head was more wired for producing, and his head was more wired for directing. So that ended up being a good fit. And then, yeah, once we decided to make the movie, it was kind of obvious where our roles were, and they show up.
That's me. That's good. Yeah, it's I took some acting classes. I've done filmmaking, I've done script writing, and it's a very difficult field at times, I can say. But it's when it comes to haunt season, it's not very difficult because you're so limited to writing what the scare actor is going to do or what the haunted attraction is about. Um, your main purpose just get the scare, make sure everything's done correctly and set up correctly, and um, the way you did that was amazing inside the haunts. Just getting those perfect pop outs at times is just even hard. You have to move real quick with that because
Hmm.
a lot of times you're not supposed to expect it. Um,
Yeah, we had to
well,
get those, and then we also had to make sure that we were moving the story along. So,
mhm,
I think you just going to haunted houses over and over and over would get a little exhausting, and I think that's why for Houses October Built 2, we even were thinking like we can't even just go to haunted houses anymore. I think that's why we went to zombie pub crawl, a zombie
mhm.
5K. We wanted to mix it up instead of just, walking through, just a walled, four-walled haunted house. We wanted to show the audience something different. So rest assured, for Houses October Built 3, we'll have something up our sleeve to show you.
Nice.
It'll
I'm so
be
excited.
fun. Yeah.
For the zombie pub crawl, I remember one scene that made me almost throw up, and that was a scene where you had to eat was it zombie brains?
Hmm.
What was it actually really bad? What was the zombie brains like? I'm so curious about that.
Well, two things. That was another thing where my producer hat saved my actor, because I said my character just wouldn't do that contest.
Mhm,
So I have no idea what they tasted like. I certainly didn't eat them off camera. And as you can tell from the movie, I didn't eat them on camera either.
Mhm.
But Mikey and Bobby did it, and they it was not planned to film them throwing up, but once I saw it, that was great production value. So
Yeah.
we just kept that camera rolling. We went behind and caught them actually throwing up because I can imagine it was disgusting.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't share it, off camera with all of the cast, you and Brandy and everyone.
Yeah, we didn't push Brandy on that. So
Yeah,
they were willing to do it, and I think some real competitive brother stuff probably went on. And once Mikey said he'd do it, or once Bobby said he'd do it, then the other one was kind of like, well, I can probably do eat more than he can. And Bobby did beat him, but Kobayashi absolutely crushed Bobby as
he
expected.
did. He I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, really nice guy too. We ended up running into him the night before at a restaurant, so we got a chance to have. We went to a hot dog restaurant, and so he was actually eating hot dogs non-competitively, just eating them. So that was cool.
Okay, that's cool. What was he, you know, just like what was he like just being near him, like knowing that this guy has held a record for something so incredible? What was it like just being next to someone that's done something that's almost nearly impossible?
Yeah, I mean he's not a big guy. He's very unassuming. Couldn't be nicer. Um, yeah, you would just never guess that would be something that he could pull off. But he is a yeah. I mean, it's I don't even know how to explain. It's not just that he can eat more than you; he can eat 10 times more than you. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just wild. But yeah, like I said, he was super excited to be in the movie, and he ended up actually going to one of our featured haunts in New York
nice.
that I've never been to, is Blood Manor, and
Ooh,
he's been there, and he kind of represented. He wore a Houses October Built 2 hat when he went through the tour, and so we thought that was cool that he was kind of our uh, eyes on the ground there in New York doing that. But we got to make
nice.
it there one day.
What was going through Blood Manor like? How scary was it, and how did he react going through it?
I've never done it, so that's what I'm saying. He was kind of our eyes on the ground, but he said it was awesome. I mean, it's a legendary haunted house in New York. So, and again, on hauntssociety.com. So anybody that's in New
Mhm.
York could find that themselves. So
Great. What's the scariest haunted house you have been to? If you could just choose one.
I always, people always ask us this question, and it's really about different experiences in different haunted houses. There isn't one haunted house that I say, oh my gosh, I'd mentioned 17th Door earlier, and there are parts of 17th Door that are some of the most extreme things that I've experienced. Um, there are parts of a haunted house in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that when you feel a shotgun in your back and you got a
Ooh,
hood over your head,
hmm,
that feels pretty intense.
yeah.
There were uh, there were times that visually, we were in a room where they did floodlights and white smoke, and
Mhm.
so I wasn't used to that. And then when a doll mask could get this close and I couldn't see it yet, and then all of a sudden it's right there, that was intense. There was
Yeah.
a haunted house in Texas that you got out, you came out of this one room, and all of a sudden you were just in this field. And there was something about looking around and seeing complete emptiness and just
Wow.
being in a field and being like, wait, there's nobody else. Like I was separated from the group, I'm by myself, and there's no one around. That was
Wow.
a creepy moment. So yeah, there's just been different things everywhere. Um, we finally made it to the Haunted Hoochie in Ohio. That was
Mhm.
another pretty extreme haunted house that
Yeah.
you'd have to mention if you were talking about the craziest places we've been. That's definitely one of them.
We went there last year actually. And it was really good. I just did not expect some of the things they did there. I I've read on it, but sometimes when you read on stuff, you get there and people are like, it never happened. So then you're like, oh, maybe they'll take it soft on you. But again, when they know your team is coming, they're going to push you till you're, in a coffin.
Yeah. Were you able to do Fear Columbus as well?
No, it was on our list and we wanted to do it so bad. We got to do Blood Prison, Face Your Fears, Hotel of Terror, I think it's called, and the Haunted Hoochie, but we never got a Fear Columbus.
You should check it out. It's long and you get your money's worth because you've got kind of like a I like when there's more to a haunted house than just the attraction. It's got
Mhm.
kind of that midway, gaming and food and, haunt characters kind of walking around and, Instagram worthy photographs and then going through the haunt. They do a really good job of just detailed and, a lot goes into it. Good people.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I like when it's more larger and there's just so many more things to explore, like just separate attractions to do with your family and the community and just walking around again, seeing scare actors and then going through haunted houses. It's like I just like that big open field where you have multiple selections to do.
Agree. Yeah.
Let's see. Did you um did you have any issues when did you have any issues when you were making the film at all? Did anything come up out of the ordinary that you were like, "Hey, I really have to fix this right away?"
We really didn't. I was pretty surprised. We kind of had some backup options, as we were planning out the shoot of, well, what if this, haunted house isn't, exactly what we expected? What's a backup place? Or what if, there's bad weather or, there's so many variables that can happen. And we really didn't run into anything that threw us for a major loop. Like I said, everybody was very accommodating. And it just couldn't have been nicer and willing to open their doors and share their life and their business and with us and trust us to put it on screen. Um, Todd James at Cutting Edge is one of the first people that we contacted, and they've got a legendary Guinness Book of World Records haunted house. I mean, he doesn't
Mhm.
need me to make a movie there. He's already got this, multi-million dollar business and machine running perfectly. But again, couldn't have been nicer to say, hey, come back, film guys getting ready, getting makeup and meet our characters and walk through and just get whatever you need. And it's been nice to be able to keep a relationship with him and talk a few times a year and keep him updated on what we're doing and hear about their new things they got going on there too.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's been nice staying in touch with everyone.
that's nice. I've heard a lot about Cutting Edge. It's been on our list forever. Have you been through it?
Oh yeah, yeah,
What
multiple times.
what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it is the longest that I've been through. I mean, it is they. I don't know if they've been replaced, but they were when we filmed. They were the Guinness Book of World Records longest walk through haunted house.
Mhm,
The other thing I thought was cool is, obviously it's a super popular place and the line is long, but they
mhm,
have things going on, as you're in the queue. So there's, a zombie band, that we ended up putting them in a movie. There's the DJ is there, and he takes pride playing music for all the people. And yeah, it's just it is a night. I mean, that is if you're in Dallas Fort Worth area and it is October and you say, this is my Friday night, I'm going to go to Cutting Edge. I'm going to wait in the line. I'm going to go through the haunt. It's going to take me over an hour to get through it. And I'm going to see unbelievable animatronics and get scared and do it with a big group of people. It's a good October night.
it's on our list. We're heading towards that way maybe next year. This year we're not gonna spoil it yet, but we're gonna have some teasers come out very soon of where we're heading, and we picked some very extreme attractions this year.
Well, I look
Um,
forward to following you guys
yes,
in your
please
adventure.
do. We look forward to your adventures, this season and maybe some off season. Do you do like halfway to Halloween events at times?
A lot of our haunted houses do. I there's a haunted house in LA that was open in July
Mhm.
last year. We thought that was cool, so I went and just did it. We didn't film anything, but just went and experienced it. So uh, I'm always down. We've got a group of people that are pretty uh, as as passionate about haunted houses, or maybe even more than I am, and I go to at least two or three different haunted houses every year around the LA area. So
Nice.
yeah,
I know you have to get going. Are you okay if I ask you two more questions?
sure.
Okay. One is so we're talking about, houses October built. When you were just traveling around and everything, what was it like just seeing all these different cities and that? What was it like seeing every town, decorated for Halloween? And I think there was one where you were in a city was a Halloween capital. What was it like just seeing everyone dressed up and having all these events?
I just love the different, I think that something that I didn't know that was going to be a part of my life in the movie making world was being able to travel the country and travel the world and just seeing the different geography and how they use it, in different areas of the world and to do their way to scare you. And yeah, driving through neighborhoods and seeing, kind of the decorations. Going to Anoka was is the
Mhm.
Halloween capital of the world, and they take great pride in it. And they've got their decorations up, and stuff like that is just I love. I grew up in Dallas and I live in LA, but I love
Mhm.
small town America as well, and just seeing that kind of um, pride that different towns take in their different holidays, and obviously Halloween, and Christmas are probably the two biggest decorative holidays, and so it's neat to see how
Mhm.
each town and each region of the country and then each country in the world handles things.
Yes, I definitely agree. We love seeing all these decorations. We actually go probably to Lowe's Home Depot in July and we're like, come on, is there something up here already? I'm like, why is it gotta be only once a year thing, for only like it doesn't last long. It goes by so fast when you enjoy something like that.
Yep.
But our I live in Concord, North Carolina. We don't decorate much around here, so we're like, we made our own yard haunt, and we do that for Halloween. I'm like, we really need to come up with something for downtown some point, but it's just we need to look somewhere else, and our list is definitely the capital that you were at in the movie. Um, one more question I have is, um, you probably know the answer, but how do we seek out Hellbent?
Don't, and and it finds you.
It does. Okay. Probably watching right now, aren't they? Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on this interview, and we look forward to staying up to date with you and hopefully seeing another Houses October built. We do not know what to expect for at all at this point. You've done almost everything. I guess McKinney Manor's next, right?
Never know.
Never know. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Well, thanks for your love of the movies. I always love meeting people that have we've been able to share our work with, and that it means something to them. So appreciate that.
Thank you. You're
All right.
doing you're doing great job.
All right.
Okay.
We'll talk
Bye.
soon. All right. See ya.